welcome to Ros Clark Craft. I'm Ros Clark. This is my crafty house and this is my crafty YouTube. You're very welcome whether you're here for the first time or whether you've been watching these last few Craftube videos. If you haven't already, I would love it if you would subscribe. If you want to get notifications whenever I put out an episode, click the notification bell. Like, unlike, comment, share, whatever you want to do, that's all good. Now, after my last video, which became very long, I did say, let me know if you would be interested in more frequent shorter videos or if you like the long videos or whatever. And a number of people did say actually shorter videos would be better. So what I'm going to try and do, I probably will still film in quite long chunks because it's just easier to do it all in one go. But I'm going to try and edit my videos so that we have shorter videos, maybe more focused on specific areas of craft. So maybe one week you might get a video that's all about the sort of knitting and crocheting and yarn things. One week you might get a video that's more sewing related. One week you might get a video that's more art related, that kind of thing. I mean, today's I'm looking around is also going to be just a little bit of everything, but that is what I'm hoping to do going forward. So I'm going to start with something off the wall. It's not actually on the wall. This normally lives on a bookshelf. This is some fabric that I wove a number of years ago, and it goes all the way around from green, orange, yellow to all the pink on the back, and you can see lots and lots of texture in there, and then I use a little bit of the offcuts to make the thing. But inside, this is not a book. Let me see if I can hold this up. So I just used some paper to line the top of it. It was a book. I bought this from, I think not even a charity shop. I think it was, there used to be a table at the back of Tesco where people did a sort of book swap, or you could put 50p in. And I think it was an old Reader's Digest or something like that. But anyway, I did take the pages out because I wanted to make a different kind of book. And this is, let me see if I can get that lined up. Now, I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold this up. Yeah, not too bad. So this was a little box, wooden box that came from the works. I think it did come with its own lid, maybe like a plastic see-through lid or something like that. But anyway, I took the lid off, and this is the thing we did in my art class a few years ago. Painted it, and then the exercise that we did over several weeks actually was to, in different ways, we made lots of lists or came up with lots of different ideas of things that made us happy, which is why mine is called The Little Book of Happy. And so there's a sort of rainbow coloured yarn stash. There's some pictures here by Bridget Riley. There's an Emma Bridgewater tea set, which has a particular resonance to me. This is when I went with a friend, we had tickets to watch the live recording of Strictly at Wembley one year. So I made this little disco ball. This says rainbow is the best colour. There's some threads. There's some, these are some of my actual artworks, but done in miniature. So this represents my art class. There's some paint here, some yarn, some miniature buttons. This is a place that is very special to me. There's a photo of that, and then some bunting. And then down here is a little bookshelf in rainbow order. And these are all little books. Let me see if I can get them out. So that one is, okay, that one is Flowers from the Storm by Lisa Claypass. So I took images of book covers from the internet and printed them out and then made them into little books. What's that? Oh, they're so tiny. I now have to take my glasses off to read them. I do have to do that. Good Night, Mr. Tom. Oh, I don't know if you've read that. It makes me cry every time. What else have we got in here? Cold Comfort Farm and Middlemarch and Mary Poppins and some Georgia Hare. And then on the bottom shelf, these are bigger books. Books of colour and pattern, puffin postcards. There's a Bible. And then there's this, which is not the happiest reading, but is a book that makes me very happy that it is finished. That is my PhD. So this is it is a little book of happy, and genuinely it makes me so happy to look at it. It's beautiful and bright and colourful. I love that I made it. I love that it represents all the things that I love, things that I love doing, people I love being with. Yeah, so, and it just folds up and does up, and then it sits on my bookshelf, and I know how happy it makes me. So that's that. What else have we got? We've got quite a lot of acquisitions in the last week, but I'm going to show you first of all some things that I've done. So I talked last time about wanting to start Crochet Blanket for my nephew, and I have started that. So I have got one square finished. That's the back. Let me show you the front. There we go. This is not in fact either of the patterns I mentioned last time. I can't remember what the pattern is called. It's a free pattern. I will put a picture online up here, and I will put a link down here. I've chosen my own colorways that I think he will like, and what I'm doing, we're going to need a lot of squares like that, and what I've done is I've taken a tip from Attic 24. I guess other people do this too. And what I've been doing is a lot of middles. So I've done yellow ones, I've done green ones, I've done grey ones. I think I've done about 25 middles so far. I'm going to do 81 squares altogether. So I just did one square just so I could see how big it would be, and then I could work out how many I want to do. So I've been doing all of these, and then I'll go around and do the next line, and then the next section, and then the outside section, and then join them together. And I think, well, we'll see. I mean, it helps obviously in terms of pattern memorization, because you only have to remember one section at a time. There's something about feeling quite satisfied with the progress. I feel like I've done 25 squares, even though I've only done 25 centres. And I think there's something about the keeping going of it. You're never starting a new square from scratch once you've done this first section. You're always just building a little bit more on a thing you've already started. So we'll see. I mean, I am aiming to have it done by Christmas. I need to make sure I keep going on it, but I'm glad to have got started with that. What else? Now this. Oh, I have been working on something else. I'm not going to get it out actually. Maybe I'll get it out and show you next time. I have also been doing some work on the house embroidery applique that you may remember from early in the summer. I started in a workshop with Anne Kelly, so I'll maybe get that out for next time. But also I've made some yarn. I showed you some yarn last time, and I'll show you a bit more this time. You can see it's still a little bit bobbly and tweaky, but it's quite nice. It's quite let me see if I can show you. So this is 3-ply yarn. I think the yarn I showed you last time was all 2-ply or singles yarn. This is 3-ply, and what I did was I span it all into singles yarn like you always do, and then I did a method which is called chain plying. It's a little bit like making a very, very large scale crochet chain, and it means you always have 3 strands that you're plying together, but you can do it from one single bobbin. You don't have to have 3 separate bobbins that you're bringing together. Yeah, it is a little bit bobbly, and it's a long time since I'd done chain plying, and it took me a little while to get back into the rhythm of it. But the reason I did this, and I wanted to show you this, is because I did this on my new spinning wheel. So that is the big acquisition I have to show you, and in fact let's do that now. So here I have got my old spinning wheel. I'm gonna have to move the camera. Okay, so this is my old spinning wheel. You can see I've been spinning this blue and green fibre on it. I've got another bobbin down there. So I do need to finish spinning this. I've not got loads left. Maybe an hour or 2 that I need to just do on this, because it will come out differently if I change the wheel halfway through. So I'm going to finish that. And this is the wheel. I think I showed you this last time. Say goodbye to that. So this is Joy. She is an Ashford Joy version 2. she is a fold up spinning wheel. In fact, let me show you. So this bit comes off. These slide, oh, a bit stiff. There we go. There. And there. And she literally just folds up. I feel like there's something I must have in the wrong place. Oh, these. There we go. Just folds up like that, and then she clips in place. And she comes with a carrying bag, so you can very easily take her around. You can carry it over your shoulder. When I brought it back with me, the lady I bought it from said, you can put her in the car and put the seatbelt on her, and that holds her very nicely in place. So this opens up there. You just clip on the treadle. It's a double treadle. You can see both of these treadle up and down. These clip into place. These are where you would store additional bobbins if you wanted to, and they fold in, and it's so clever. The wheel is cut so that the spare bobbins you store here and here, and then up here, this is the one that you'll be working on, hold the wheel in place. So while it's like this, it's not spinning anywhere. Okay, and then you would take this one off, which comes off just like that. And then you see you've got the bobbin and the flyer, and the flyer just turns and says, sort of needs two hands because you have to hold it at the other end, but you just screw it in there and then you're ready to go. So it's very compact, it's very smooth, it's a different sort of tension. This is what I was trying to explain last week. So this has this band. There we go. So this one, you have the wheel is here at the back. Okay, and that's what's holding the wheel there with this wall, it's called here, and it's got different sizes it can do it on. And then you have this separate band here holding the bobbin in place. So the bobbin is not directly attached to the wheel at all. And then here, the other thing that's nice about this, instead of hooks that are in fixed places to hold where it's going to wind the yarn on, it's got this which you can move along, sliding hook it's called, to wherever you want. So it's really nice, it moves really smoothly. It came with, it's secondhand, but came with a lot of equipment. So I've got this, which is called a lazy Kate. So my old wheel does have a lazy Kate like this built in for two bobbins, but this one is separate, which is fine. You can also store two on the wheel itself. And she also gave me, for a couple of the bobbins, there's enough of this foam that you can pop round. And it just means that you're spinning around a much wider circle, which I think is supposed to make it easier for you to spin finer yarn. I've not yet tried that. So there's a couple there, but also it came with 10 bobbins altogether, which is a crazy number. And it also came with a second flyer. So this would go, this is the second flyer, and it's much bigger. I don't know if I can show you that. It's what's called a jumbo flyer and a jumbo bobbin, and it's got much bigger holes and rings, and that is for if you want to spin really chunky yarn, or what they call art yarn, which might have all sorts of things included in it, and that's why it's much bigger. So that's really great, because one of the advantages of my old wheel is that it does have really enormous bobbins and a really big orifice, they call this hole here. So it is great for spinning those kind of chunky art yarns, but with this flyer I can do that on this wheel as well. So I don't think there's anything that I can't do with this new wheel that I'm going to want to do. And yeah, I love how small it is. I love how easy it is to use. I found just spinning on it so much easier to control than with my existing wheel, and I think I'm really going to enjoy spinning with that. So this yarn here that I was showing you, this is my first go. It's some Blueface Leicester top that the lady I bought the wheel from very kindly chucked in for me to have a go at with. And as I say, I spun this 3-ply, which gives a yarn a really nice rounded sort of texture. You can see that's not terribly even and consistent, but some of this is coming out for a 3-ply yarn, you know, really quite fine. I would say some of that is fingering weight. Probably on average it's about a sport weight, which is a bit less than the double knitting weight that I would normally produce. So that's Joy, and we're very glad to have her in the house. Good. What else have we got? Well, I got a new book this week. This is Knitted Animal Friends. I had started watching Amy Florence on YouTube. She is a yarn dyer. She makes, what's her company called? Stranded Dye Works. And she has videos showing various crafting, quite a lot of DIY around her house. But she has, I think she's got 1 or 2 friends who are expecting babies at the moment and started knitting some of these, and they're so pretty. It's not so much the animals that I like, although I do quite like them, but the outfits are just glorious. And I kind of want, I don't know, I feel like my niece would really like them, but I also quite like them, so I don't know. I just want to show you. So this is the owl. Do you see he's got jeans and like trainers and the sort of duffel coat and an Aran sweater. It's just adorable. And which is the other one that I really loved? I mean, I quite like them all. And that's the thing, I think you can just make one animal and then make all the outfits and dress them up. So we might have to do that. I mean, you know, there's one here wearing a tie, waistcoat and tie. I think it's hilarious. And I do like that one too. But look, here's the horse in dungarees. I'm in a horse in dungarees. I just think it's absolutely adorable. Yeah. So we'll see. There's a picture of several of them. I don't know. I mean, toy knitting is not absolutely my favourite kind of knitting, but these are so adorable. So I don't know whether I ever will, but maybe it's the kind of book that I think, you know, if I do have a friend who falls pregnant, for example, their child stands quite a good chance of getting one of these at the moment. So that's that. I bought some yarn. This is Posh yarn. This is Genie Sock, which is 80% merino, 20% nylon. So really good for socks. Nice for sort of winter socks. I feel like this kind of colour. So that's that. Bought some fabric. So this is, you can see it's got sort of square dots on it, and they're actually woven dots. And on the other side, it's got this stripe. And I think this is just going to be like a lightweight cardigan, probably. But I thought it's a really nice colour. It's sort of burnt orange, almost bordering on brown, but not quite, I would say. So I bought that. And I bought this, which is a slightly weird thing to show you, but it is going to go on the wall up here, I think. And I think what I'm going to do, although I haven't quite checked it out yet, the cross stitch that's here that says it is well with my soul, I think that will fit quite nicely in this frame actually. And then I can use that hoop, which has always been a little bit too big for that cross stitch, for something else. I've still got Here Comes the Sun, which I haven't put up yet, but I think this one will be quite good. And then I think, so I'm still wanting to replace this one, which is just a bit grubby, and this one, which I don't absolutely love, but I think this, I quite like this. It's just from Amazon, and you know, it's just a photo frame, but it's I don't know, it's about 1 inch wide, I think, that white circle, so it'll just be a bit different, but I think it will still go really well with what's up there. So that's nice. Now, the other thing that I have done in this last week, we had the first of what I anticipate will be many sessions of art with Aunty Ros. So I have a niece who is 6 and a nephew who is 8, and they just live next door. And so I went around last week and we did various kinds of art. I'd taken various sort of watercolory things. I took my Inktense blocks and my set of woodies, which are really nice for drawing in wet things, and we did some lovely watercolory pictures of flowers. But then they had a set of oil paints. Don't give oil paints to small children. They're just, there's lots of reasons why it's not an ideal medium for children. It's quite a difficult medium even for adults, especially if they're the kind of oil paints that take forever to dry. And these are the kind of oil paints that take forever to dry. So we did these a week ago, and I mean, they are now dry, but I would say it was at least 3 or 4 days. I mean, you know, with small children, that's really not an ideal thing. But they also had some of these boards that you can paint on, and these are quite a good thing. But I would strongly recommend, if you want to get your children, I think it's a good idea to get children real art materials rather than children's art materials, because you just can't produce nice things with children's art materials. But I wouldn't get oil paints. I would get acrylic paints or possibly gouache paints. If that's what you want to get. They dry much quicker. You can dry them with a hairdryer if you need to speed them up. Yeah, and they're just easier to wash off fingers and so on. I would say make sure that everyone is wearing clothes that you don't really mind if the paint gets on them. Or you could do what my nephew did and just take your clothes off. And then he was covered in paint more or less everywhere, but it's fine because he can just go straight in the bath. Or, you know, the kind of aprons, particularly if they're very small children, the kind of aprons that kind of have sleeves and cover your entire front. That also might work quite well. But having said all that, my niece, I mean, she had to wash her hands at the end, but that's about it. So, you know your child. Anyway, so we did those, and then we did get the oil paints out, and they produced some lovely paintings. We picked some flowers and they did some of that, and then we had a rainbow painting, and then I did this, which is a simple flower painting, and so they both did a version of that, which was really nice, and then my nephew did that. So I think at that point we'd got to the end of the useful session, but it was really good, and we'd said they were going to do them to take to their grandmother, and they did both pick one to take, but there was quite a lot of, oh no, I want to keep that, I like that. So yeah, I would say even with quite small children, give them some direction. So we weren't just painting things out of our heads, we were looking at things. So we'd picked flowers in different colours, and then they picked one and they had to do things in that colour, and then we picked 3 and they had to look at them and draw the different shapes, and then we could think about a background colour and so on. And you know, they all did that, they both did that, you know, in different ways at different sort of level, but they were both really able to do that. They could do much more looking and choosing and thinking and drawing if you just give them some direction, whereas if you give them no direction, you do just get that. And yeah, I mean, you can see actually that is a week on, and actually that is still coming off on my fingers. Don't give them oil paint. But anyway, there will be more art with Aunty Ros, no doubt, at a future date, and there may be some photos of that to show you. So I think that has been actually a shorter video, so that's good. This coming week I'm going to be working on more of the Crochet Blanket, maybe some knitting. I'd like to get on and do a bit more of the patchwork quilt squares that I'd started, but also there's going to be spinning. There's definitely going to be spinning. Next weekend I am hoping to film a transformation challenge, and also there'll be some more craft tubing. So I hope you enjoy bank holiday. I hope you have a good week, and I'll see you soon.